Hello everybody, this is Jasmina, and in this video I am going to talk about the the Dipper Nobleman star. It is a pretty rare formation. Only 4 day pillars have it. You could have the same pillar appear in other parts of your chart, but it doesn't count. It must be your day pillar. And it's not always good, but under the right circumstances, it can be very good. So you have to know a little bit more about your chart to be able to determine whether if you have it, whether or not it's a positive thing. If a day master is strong and has no clashes, harms, or punishments in their natal chart, and typically, sometimes it depends on where your focus is, whether or not you have it. You're really looking at your day pillar as the focus. That is what determines whether you have a clash, harm, or punishment. And it's really the day branch. And if this is true, you have a strong day master and none of these issues, then this is a very good star to have because it leads to a wealthy life, and not just wealth, but also power and leadership abilities. And so you can become a pillar of society, basically, which is one reason why it's somewhat rare. Now, if the day master is weak, this tends to lead to problems with both money and power. That basically you don't quite know how to handle what might come your way, and you miss out on opportunities because your day master isn't strong enough to handle basically the pressure. Because if you are going to be a leader, have a lot of power, you have to be able to handle pressure because they go hand in hand. Now, wealth, you can keep your wealth hidden. People may not know that you're wealthy, and you can be like an average person and not appear wealthy. Then you don't have the same amount of pressure. But if it is this case where you do have the Dipper Nobleman, this all comes together. It just naturally comes together. And so this is why if your day master is weak, it can be a problem. Now, if you have a weak day master, but you have a lot of elemental support for the day master within your natal BaZi, that is, and of course you don't have the clashes, the harms, or anything like that, it might be able to overcome the problems, and you could still be powerful, or at least relatively powerful, more than average, and have more leadership abilities and have a wealthier life, but it won't be the same as a strong day master. And you will have to work quite hard and work quite smart because you don't have the advantages that the strong day master has. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I'm sorry, but I don't set the rules. So here are the 4 day pillars that have the Dipper Nobleman. So this is the stem we're talking about, and this is the branch. So you have to have a dog or a dragon as the branch, the earth dog, the water dragon, and metal of either the dog or the dragon. Those 4 are the only day pillars that will have the Dipper Nobleman star. Now, I don't personally know anybody, at least well enough to know if this applies to them. Uh, and But I also don't really know a lot of rich and powerful people. I know, number of people who are significantly richer than I am, or than we are, but they tend to be wealthy, but not necessarily powerful. That is, they do have some power within a small group of people, but maybe they actually have this. I don't know, but I don't know their BaZis. And if they're not willing uh, to let me know them, and I don't ask, but if they wanted to, I would do it, but nobody has asked. But again, like I said, I don't really know any rich and powerful people. I know of plenty of people who are rich and powerful, but I've never met them, so I don't consider that I know them. Now, if you assume that BaZis are evenly distributed throughout the days, that is the 60-day pillars, and over 1 year, this is probably true. then between 6 and 7% of the people would have this formation. And of course, whether or not it is powerful, that is, the day master is strong, is a whole nother issue. So this is these two things have to go hand in hand. A person that has this has to have a strong day master to be able to take advantage of the Dipper Nobleman star basically naturally. That is, they don't have to work extraordinarily hard. Now, I would also say this, the people we personally know are not evenly distributed in terms of wealth. The wealthiest people we know are family members. Um, so, uh, because I guess you don't normally talk about wealth with the average person, even a person that you have a regular contact with. Now, for an Earth Dog Daymaster to be strong, they must be born in the summer months. That's the only time that a Earth Daymaster can be strong. So that means the snake, the horse, or the goat months. So look at your Batza. If you have an Earth Dog Daymaster, well, the Earth Daymaster, and you have the dog as your branch, then the snake and the horse or the goat has to be in the month pillar for you to have a strong Daymaster. For a water dragon to be strong, they have to be born in either the autumn, which is the monkey, rooster, or dog months, or the winter, which is the pig, rat, or ox months. For a metal dragon or a metal dog, and it really matters on, it's the Daymaster, so it's the metal, and these are both yang metal, they have to be born in the autumn, that is the monkey, rooster, or dog months. If you don't meet these requirements, your Daymaster would be considered weak, assuming you have the dog or the dragon in your chart, and it's either the earth, the water, or the metal. So, if you're in that group. Now, if you do have one of the 4 day pillars that isn't complying with this list here, then by definition you have a weak day master. And this formation tends to be harmful to you unless you can strengthen your self-confidence, your toughness, your resolve. I mean, it is a lot more work for someone who doesn't have a strong day master. But you don't have to strive to be as rich or as powerful as these guys that do have the right month of birth. You just have to be able to live a decent life. And that is doable. You still have to work hard and you have to work smart, but you don't have to be rich and powerful to be happy. Now, assuming that you do have a strong day master, the following applies. If it's a metal dog as your day pillar, you need to collaborate usually to be able to do really well. And collaborating with a rooster or a monkey, in we're talking about the other person's year animal, is usually the best results. It gives you the balance that you need. For a metal dragon, they tend to be very highly organized people, which is good, and so they can become good managers. And so usually this also requires you to work with other people. It's best if they can work with people that have their year pillar is one of their 3 harmony branches. That is the monkey and the rat. So they just work better with these people and they tend to get more done. Now, the earth dog is a bit different. They tend to be towards a more religious side. They tend to be a little bit more, I guess you would say, rigid, because there's a lot of yang earth here. The main chi of the dog is also yang earth. So there's a lot of rigidity here. But they are, they have very strong convictions, which is fine. They can be leaders in wherever they choose to go. And they can be wealthy. I mean, if they're really towards the religious side, they're typically not wealthy, but they're wealthy in terms of their influence. in their own society, usually. Sometimes it goes beyond their own society, but their religious little society. But it means that these people tend to be very decent people, because they 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 focus on religion. I mean, that's what interests them. Now, the water dragon tends to be more towards research. They don't tend to be so much in business, but you can become quite famous and powerful if you have the right. If you do research and you happen to pick the right subject, and it's always about the right subject in science. But they tend to be well organized and forward moving, forward looking. So they like to learn. They tend to look to the future and generally are not traditionalists because they want new knowledge. That's what research does. So these tend to be the most forward looking people of all the Dipper noblemans. Now, traditionally, the Dipper nobleman was considered a really bad sign for a woman. And that's because way back when this was determined that these are good or strong special stars to have, women didn't have any power in China. In fact, they didn't have any power anywhere. But today the times have changed, and I don't think this is a bad sign. But if you read the traditional stuff, they will say this is bad for a woman. But basically, this indicates it's just like a man. They're strong women. Have leadership abilities. They have a lot of resolve, and they are sure about themselves. A lot of self-confidence, just like a man. It's just that they're female. That's all. Now, most of the discussions of the Dipper star include something called the white tiger Dipper star. I have not really seen this discussed by itself, so I don't think this is a problem by itself. It's only a problem for someone with a Dipper star. And that is, they're talking about the wood rooster hour. It seems to be okay if it's in the year or the month, or at least most of them say that. It's being born with the Dipper nobleman star and being born during the wood rooster hour. That's when this white tiger Dipper star comes into effect. And so but I haven't found a lot of information about that other than this somehow weakens everything. And actually, yes, wood does weaken earth, and and the metal of the rooster also weakens earth. So, uh, you know, I maybe that's where it comes from. But then it could have also been the wood monkey would also do that, but for some reason that's not included. So it's not really clear to me why it's just the wood rooster. But that's okay. Um, like I said, I don't even know anybody who has this, let alone this detail. Now, it is particularly bad for a person with the metal Dipper nobleman to be born at the wood rooster hour. It bodes basically bad for marriage. It doesn't mean that they can't get married. It just means that their marriages tend not to be good. They tend to have they break up more often. They may be divorced several times. Um, I can't really make a judgment on whether or not this is true because I just don't know enough people who have this situation. Now, it does seem to say, and it does state that sometimes some of the people, but it's not the majority, and when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about the Chinese web pages. Some state that a wood rooster elsewhere, like in the month or the year, could be a problem. But most of them do not say that. Most of them focus on the hour. But a wood rooster without a Dipper star does not appear to be bad. I have not found anything that says that. So that is helpful to know that don't worry if you just have the wood rooster and you do not have the Dipper star. Now, like anything in BaZi, your chart is only 1/3 the influence of your life. The decisions you make is probably the most important, but what you choose to focus on improving about yourself these two things are much, together are more important than your BATSA. And so I'm not worried about my BATSA. It says whatever it says, whatever. I mean, I've lived the vast majority of my life without understanding anything about the BATSA. And, I think I've lived a pretty good life. Now, if you have a weekday master and the Dipper Nobleman, it is clear, at least to me from reading this, that you need to improve your self-confidence, your resolve, and especially your resilience. You have to be able to come back from disruptions or, you know, um, disasters that you've tried to do and things didn't work out at all. You have to be resilient enough to get back up on the horse, as they say, and keep riding. You have to keep moving. And so there are ways to increase this. There are ways to do this that basically involves usually psychologists or counselors to help you with this. But for someone who I think has, like, if I'm talking about myself, I have a pretty good amount of resilience. So to me, this is easy, but I'm sure that it's not easy for everybody. Now, basically, if you have a strong moral code of ethics and you don't forget about this, because it's very easy to have a strong code of moral ethics in your head, but when you're challenged, you forget something. You just say, well, okay, it's maybe not quite so important. If you don't have a lot of self-confidence to know that your code of ethics is right, then yes, it's very easy to let that slide. That is usually the first step down the wrong path. But increasing your self-worth and knowing what your self-worth is, increase your self-confidence, know what you're worth, and be really, I want to say truthful, but sometimes it's very hard to look at yourself. So oftentimes you have to ask other people what you are worth, and then you should believe them. I mean, this, of course, you ask somebody who likes you, not someone who hates you. But this is helps you see yourself better if you don't have that natural ability. And focus on becoming the best at whatever you do in your job or your career, and that will keep you in a good position in life. That is, you you don't have to be the absolute best, but be really good, be better than everybody else in your company. Uh, Maybe not in the world, but at least, very top of your company, then you're the ones who are going to keep the job. So this is actually very important, because otherwise, losing your job, you lose a lot of self-confidence. Now, another thing is standing up for your rights, and really the big key is standing up for the rights of others. This can help you gain a lot of self-confidence and also resolve and knowing what's right. I mean, it all helps. And this is if you have a weekday master and the Dipper Nobleman. All of this will basically come easy to you if you have a strong day master, and you won't even need to think about all this, because you will know what's right and wrong, and you will be strong and confident about it. So I'm just going to summarize, because this was a little bit crazy. The Dipper star is best if the day master is strong, but there can't be clashes, harms, or punishment in the natal chart. If these are here, then even if the day master is strong, the Dipper star is not really very functional. And so you have to work on resolving some of these problems and figuring out ways to deal with these problems so that the strength of your day master can come out with the Dipper star. Now, having the Dipper star and being born on a wood rooster hour does appear to make a good marriage less likely, and this is pretty consistent. So maybe times have changed, maybe it's not quite the same as it was, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is still true, because it's still talked about. But people with day masters that are weak and the Dipper star, they have to work pretty hard to have well, I wouldn't say a good life because you don't have to be rich and powerful to have a good life, but you do have to be more self-confident. You have to actually gain some skills that keep you in a good position. And then you can have a good life. Maybe you're not the wealthiest, you're not the most powerful people out there, but that's okay. You can still have a really good life, even if you have a weekday master. But it takes a lot more work than if you were to have the strong day master. So, I don't know anybody who has this. Maybe somebody out there does. And, I'd say run with whatever you've got. But, I would like to know if this seems true to you and you have the Dipper Nobleman. So that's it. I'd like to thank you for watching, and please feel free to either leave a comment or email me here if you have questions. If you want to know where my coffee store is, this is the QR code, and I've done it in two sizes because I don't know which one reads the best on a cell phone because I do not have a smartphone. So, this will get you to this store if you're interested. And since 99% of the people seem to have smartphones, this is supposed to get you to my store. Of course, I haven't tried it because I don't have a phone like that. But let me know if it does not work, and then I can see what I can do.